Michal Bukowski, good to meet you again. You are an enterprise architect for the Polish Ministry of Digital Affairs. You're also a permanent working group member of the Interoperable Europe board. You have contributed to the Interoperable Europe Act and the guidelines for cross-border interoperability assessments. My first question would be, does this accurately summarize your current responsibilities? And what have you been working on this year in 2025?
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning, everybody. I work, as you said, as an enterprise architect for the Polish Ministry of Digital Affairs. So, a part of the interoperability of the European level, I also contribute to our national interoperability. So, in the year 2025, I contributed to the strategic documents and also as well as drafting legislation for the Polish interoperability and enterprise architecture. So, we need to plan and execute the strategy. So my goal is also to work with other members of our team. So we cover all aspects of national and cross-border interoperability as well. And for the past 5 years, I've been running a Polish interoperability and state information architecture portal, which is a hub for information related to all things related to the initiatives, standards, and some other topics related to interoperability.
Good. So, based on your broad experience in Poland and talking about enterprise architecture, how can enterprise architecture be used in the context of public administration at a national member state level?
Okay, it's a great question. I think that I have to start with the famous proverb that you could measure what you manage, only what you measure. So if you would like to address such a complex matter as a public administration digital transformation, you have to clearly state the as-is state, the present state, and also aim for the vision. And the enterprise architecture is a methodology which is used mainly for the digital transformation of the large organizations and could be also applied on the state level. So from our point of view, from the Polish point of view, the enterprise architecture is very useful in the operationalization of the strategy. You got an ongoing digital strategy in preparation. The strategy has goals, and we have to map those goals to the portfolio of the projects, of the transformation projects. And enterprise architecture used in Poland, which we call state information architecture, addresses legal, organizational, semantic, and technical aspects of the implementation of the strategy. So it is very, very useful. As I said in the beginning, the public administration is a very complex organization, and the relationships between the different public sector bodies could lead to the complexity of the services and the lack of the good electronic services, digital services. Therefore, the enterprise architecture in our country is used to visualize the most salient elements of, I would say, the backbone of the digital government. So there are organizations, there are legal frameworks, there are information technology systems, and which is very important, the relationships between them. Because if we want to address the change, we have to understand what is the present landscape, and also what are the interactions between systems and data, for example, data flows. So we use it to simplify the perspective of the whole digital state to plan and execute our digital transformation. It is also used in the finance planning, because in Poland, if you are doing a big public IT project, or you draft legislation which is referring to the digital matters, you have to conform to the enterprise architecture principles and models. If not, the financing is in danger. So we encourage everybody in Polish administration to address those matters and take it into account.
Excellent. Thank you for your input and your examples. What are the lessons that you learned over the years in applying enterprise architecture in the context of public administrations?
Thank you for the question. Yes, we accumulated some experience over the 10 years of the application of the state information architecture in Poland, and there are some lessons learned which could be presented. So first, you have to address the top-level management. So introduce them to the concept of enterprise architecture and show how it could be used to achieve the business goals, the strategy goals. They will become not only your sponsors, but also your allies. Next, you have to, this is my advice, to refer to the proven enterprise architecture methodologies. Many organizations consider themselves unique, however they do similar things and address similar issues in the context of the digital transformation. So, of course, every methodology should be tailored to the organization. However, the best practices from all around the world are within the reach of the hand. And one thing which I consider very important is that you do not cooperate with other organizations, but you co-create the enterprise architecture with them. So their experience, their proven methods should be introduced, and the co-creation approach to the enterprise architecture will make them feeling the ownership of the enterprise architecture. Then it's good to start with the recommendations, best practices, and start with the education of the whole environment, but then follow with the aim of anchoring it with the legal regulations. Public organizations act on the regulations, so finally they have to feel that they have a strong background for their actions. And lastly, it's also good within the public administration to connect the public financing for the projects with the conformance with the enterprise architecture. Lastly, it will show that if you want to do a transformation which is sound and in accordance with the rules, you have to conform to the defined models, the principles, and then you will get the financing.
Okay, thank you again for your advices. We discussed enterprise architecture here at national level with Polish examples. What about the European level? How is enterprise architecture used at European level?
Okay, another great question, because European Commission put its attention many years ago to the enterprise architecture approach, and European Interoperability Reference Architecture is a solution which was developed and is being developed by the Commission. It is a tool for the application of the European Interoperability Framework. So it is very useful not only for Commission, but for every country which has its own national interoperability frameworks. And as a matter of fact, European Interoperability Reference Architecture strongly affected our local state information architecture, so we are aligned. And I would like to mention that this year, in 2025, we organized, as a Polish presidency, informal CIO meeting, and we asked the participants, the representatives of the states, if and how they use the enterprise architecture in their public administration environment. And 16 out of 22, which responded to the questionnaire, showed that in some areas they use enterprise architecture. So right now I think that we've got a ball rolling, and because of the European Commission experiences and the practices of the member states, we should think about using the enterprise architecture language as a lingua franca for the digital services, especially in the cross-border environment.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to continue to roll the ball of enterprise architecture, talking about the Interoperable Europe Act, and especially the interoperable assessments. How was enterprise architecture, again, used maybe as a supporting methodology for the interoperability assessments? Yes.
So I will start with the report issued by the European Commission of the best practices how to approach the interoperability assessments. And there is a section of this report which refers to the visualization methodologies. One of these methodologies which was used and referred is an Archimate language used by the enterprise architects. It is used both in ERA in our state information architecture. So we Poland we are strongly for use of such an approach, because in practice we used it in the pilot for the interoperability assessments, and it proved to be very useful tool. It visually addresses the stakeholders, the information systems involved in the cross-border services, the legal framework, and last but not least, the cross-border data flows, which are very important as a ground for the reference to the interoperability assessments.
Okay, very clear again. Finally, to close the interview, would you have any message for the SEMIC community?
I think that interoperability is basically about the effective cooperation, and the effective cooperation should be based on the clear and precise communication. So I would recommend for the SEMIC community to look into the enterprise architecture approaches, because they refer to the semantic aspect of the data, therefore to the semantic and syntactic aspect of the communication. And right now we need to have even more clearly communication based on the dictionaries, agreed data models, but also the reference to the data which is flowing across the borders. So then we will make the Europe even more interoperable. Thank you.
Michal Bukowski, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much
you.
for the interview.